don't know if we're live yet. We're live!
Hello, and welcome to another chesserific episode of Those Aren't Biscuits.
Chesserific. Make it sound like a seeping wound.
I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Cadotte, and with me always, my white queen, Owen Adams.
Hello.
How you doing?
I don't wish to be buried in a pet cemetery. Now I mention that, there's a really funny story about the writing of that song. There we go. That's a joke no one else understands. Good, good.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yeah. So, welcome to our lovely show. This is a weekly pop culture talk show where we play video games in the background, but we don't necessarily talk about the games we're playing. We usually talk about stuff like movies and video games and music and books and television and all other sorts of stuff, just generally not the game we're playing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm gonna try. I haven't seen Jessica Jones yet, really sorry. We are gonna do that soon. We're probably gonna get like Infinity War and stuff out of the way and then burn through it, you know? Right. But I'm looking forward to that. I haven't been consuming a lot of media lately, so I've got to get back on that a little bit. I did finally watch that The Problem with Apu documentary that made a bit.
Yeah.
I did finally catch up with that. I might talk about that later, but and I've rewatched Spider-Man: Homecoming for the first time. My big watch through. But other than that, not taking on a lot about that. What about yourself? Anything you've been consuming aside from the souls of mortal men?
Funny you mention that. No, I've been.
Well, not the souls.
Before we get into that, I just want to say hello to Savannah and hello to Fuzzy. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Fuzzy Savannah. I'm combining you. Oh, hello. Did you resign?
I never started.
I've got a game here that just says, Black wins, White resigned.
Okay.
Well done, sir.
And now it's still on my list, but it says, you won in 0 moves. Yeah, just champ.
Alright. Let's see here if I can get this going. Alright, start game. Alright, you should have one.
Okay, hold on. I'm still looking at White Resign at the moment. Hold on. Savannah says, have you watched Hell's Kitchen before? I have. I'm not a big fan of that kind of reality show, you know?
Right.
But, yeah. I did notice, I don't know if we talked about this, but you can play these games asymmetrically, so you can play like postal chess, you know? We should do that.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of what have I done. So, before I get into some of the stuff I've been consuming or attempting to consume, because it's been a whole lot of failure on that part for me. So I had some kind of strange, I don't want to say strange things happen to me. If you're a long-time listener to the show, you might know that I have a strange history when it involves retail and...
Right, John is incapable of achieving a transaction without upsetting or being upset by a stranger, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Now, I had two... This past week, I've had two situations arise that were one of them I will assume most of. Oh, have a good one there, Savannah.
See you later, Savannah.
Yeah, thank you for dropping in. So oh, what are you doing here?
Hello to Geeko. Welcome. How you doing?
So one of them, I will admit, is absolutely more on me. This is me kind of maybe getting a little defensive when I shouldn't have.
Uh-huh.
But the other one, I remain, is not at all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll, 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 I'll start out with the one that wasn't my fault. All right. So I'll start out with the one that wasn't my fault. All right. So I'm at Walmart, you know, the Walmart, the one and only Walmart in the United States. And oh god damn it, are you gonna pull this on me?
So you're at the Walmart.
So I'm at the Walmart, and I'm in line, and there's a person in front of me, and then there's a person already at the checkout. So there's two people in front of me, technically. Now, I'm sure everyone's familiar with cash registers, and, you know, they have the little conveyor belt thing, right?
Right.
And the protocol, as we all know, is when you lay your stuff down, you put that little plastic stick.
Yeah, and then you put the one down from the person behind you if you're not an animal. If you're a member of society. If you're civilized. Sorry, this is a hot button issue.
Sorry, have I brought out some demons for you?
Hello to Geeko in the chat. If you're new here, this is a podcast that we do every week, and we don't really do as much chat interaction, but feel free to drop in. We'll be doing questions as we go. Okay, so yeah, right. So, you did checkout, got it.
So it gets to the guy in front of me. Oh, actually, hold on. What am I gonna say? I never switched my mics. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. John has a better mic than this one. He sounds fine. It's just his little obsession. We will like to let him switch the mics. Oh, hello. It's Barry White again. Madonna, I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery.
So, the person in front of me, they put their stuff up and they start checking out. And the lady swipes their stuff and then attempts to reach over the plastic stick and grab one of my items. And, you know, real politely, me and the guy in front of me both go, "Oh, no, that's mine, that's not his." And she's like, oh, okay. And sets it down. And then looks at me and goes, "Sir, next time, can you put one of the separators in between your and his stuff?" It's like, there was. There was a stick there. It was still sitting there.
And when people when people say something like that, you always think like, wait a minute, am I mental?
Did I? Is this my fault? And I absolutely had that response. I was like, oh, is this on me? Like did
have I forgotten how shopping works?
Right, it's so I'm like, oh, well, no, I'm sorry, but the stick was there. Like, I guess I could have let it go, right? Be like, oh, okay, you know, just nod my head and
right. Lying about the stick, are you now? Presses a little tad eye. Susan, can you come to aisle 3? We've got a stick liar.
Bring the stick lying stick.
Yeah, I approve.
But I'm like, oh, okay. And, oh, damn it.
Is that what you said? You leaned in really close to her and you went, oh, damn it. Now someone's gonna have to be punished.
So yeah, that was kind of it, but like, it's just mind-boggling me, because like both me and the guy in front of me both say like, oh no, the stick was there, and she goes,
looks like we got a little conspiracy in the state of Wisconsin.
Well, and then she's like, oh yeah, I know, but I'm just letting him know for next time to have the stick down.
Yeah, double down. Sure, no, I definitely knew there was a stick.
It's like, well, okay, that's fine, but why are you reminding me to do something that I've already shown that I am capable of doing? Like, I've done my part. What the fuck do you want from me?
Have you placed your stick today?
Did you know that 5 out of every 4 Americans don't put the stick down correctly?
Are you a stick placer or a stick conspirator? It's when you end up in one of those situations and you're like, okay, like, I get that it doesn't really matter and I'm as bad as you in this debate, but why are you pushing this, you know? Like, why are we dying on this particular hill?
Yeah, like, what stake do you have in this? Like, was your grandpa killed by a grocery divider? Like, is this
the freak accident? You just see her as a child. She's 4 years old. She's doing shopping with her beloved grandfather, and he's like one of those really sweet-looking grandfathers too, you know, like
yeah,
big
he's
bushy
wearing like a
beard,
straight bill cap, Adidas, skinny jeans. You know, he looks sweet.
He's adorable. No, I'm talking. He looks like the Santa Claus from Ernest Saved Christmas, right?
Okay.
He's that old man, and
he looks like Odin from Ragnarok, you know.
Right, and he goes, all right, little Susie, make sure you put the divider between the shopping. And the guy comes up behind him, and he's got like 5 kegs of beer laid on the side.
And a shotgun.
And she just lets it roll through, and the beer comes rolling down. Pop, pop, no! No!
And he just, in his last breath, he's like, I'll always love you.
Never forget that you killed me, Susie.
This wasn't your fault.
Why would he say that unless it was my fault?
He was trying to comfort me. But yeah, it's just like, what do you do in that situation? Like, I mean, I guess like the normal human response is, oh, okay, and just let it go.
Sure. Whatever. No, you're right. I'm definitely lying about the divider.
Right. It's just like, all right. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just didn't want to fully let it go yet. You know, I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna be the one. Right? Because I know what's gonna happen. Like she's gonna go home and bitch about me to like her family members. Like, do you believe there's an asshole who didn't use the stick? Right? She's gonna lie about me regardless. I understand this at this point, but I wasn't fully committed.
I was stick legal. I had done my stick-related shopping duty.
Like, in that moment, I just wanted her to know that I knew that I was in the right. Right?
I had sticked with the best of them.
I've seen the horrors of the Great Stick War, right? I didn't sacrifice for nothing.
This is Stick Town.
Yeah. So that was one of my experiences. Right?
Oh yeah.
Now,
how did this end?
Like
by the way, was that the end? Was that the ultimate resolution?
I blankly stared at her for the rest of the transaction and walked away. I'm just like, ugh. And it was that thing where it's like, I made a tweet about this actually, but I don't like.
Afterwards, you should be like, no, I already paid you. I definitely gave you the money. And a sweet tip just for you.
Yeah. All you, baby. I don't like Seinfeld. Like, I never have.
Uh-huh.
So it makes me, like, even more upset when I know I'm living an episode of it. You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I could see that.
And yeah, so when that happened, I was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is what's going on? All right." So the other situation that happened, this one is more my fault. All right, I admit this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So a little preamble here, as I'm known for. I like to think of myself as pretty good at like choosing food.
Uh-huh.
I don't always eat the best, or healthy, but the quality of the food I eat, even if I'm eating junk food, it's good quality junk food,
Right.
Which is a thing. But every once in a while, I get a hankering for bad junk food. That there's a certain taste to.
Called it some bad junk food.
There is a certain taste, all right? That bad junk food has, all right? It's hard to explain, all right? And I understand that I'm a little crazy, all right? But I maintain that there is a flavor, and the only place you can get this flavor of bad junk food.
Please say roadkill. Please say roadkill. Is it something that's been buried in a pet cemetery?
It's gas station food, all right? The little crappy food that you get off of, like the little roller grills or the little warming trays. That's the kind of food I mean. And every once in a while, I just get this hankering where it's like, I need to eat this terrible food.
Right.
And I don't understand my compulsion for it. I just want to eat terrible food.
No, I know the same thing. I occasionally buy refrigerators. Which probably don't. Do you know what refrigerators are?
Over here, we call refrigerators the giant things that you store food in.
No, fridge raiders. They're these little packets of meat. They're ostensibly chicken, but I'm pretty sure they're just foam rubber with salt on. They're so bad, but sometimes I'm just like, I just want some meat that is pre-prepared in a pack. They got 3 flavors: southern fried chicken, roast chicken, and piri piri chicken, and they're all exactly the same. They taste no different.
So that was me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna order this food. So I go to the gas station, Quick Trip to be specific, and I buy a cheeseburger, these little chicken tube things, a breakfast burrito. All right, like I knew what I was about. All right, I knew it was a lot. All right, but I wanted a lot of bad food in that moment. And that should be fine. Okay, it should be a fine thing. All right, no one should have to feel guilty about that.
Yeah, no, I can believe that. I'm with you.
But what I got was the lady who takes my order does that thing, right? And it's that fucking thing where all she had to do was keep her mouth shut and finish the transaction, all right? I give the money, she gives me the food, we both go our separate ways, done, all right?
Right.
It's over. But no, she couldn't. She couldn't just let me have it. She had to make a comment. And she goes, "Oh, someone's hungry today." It's like, you know what, Harpy? All right, I don't need your condescending condescending tone, all right?
How dare you comment on my purchasing of food?
I mean, really? What is she getting out of this? Is she expecting me to like just start this like great conversation with her? Like, oh, sure am. Oh,
Nom nom
my
nom nom
tummy
nom nom
is
nom.
like, it's just my tummy is a rumbling. Like,
Hello to all
No.
Chaos, by the way. Hello also to Ollie, who says you could be playing against a Grandmaster. Nah, I'm playing against John.
oh,
Grandmaster Funk. And now all I can think of is Grandmaster Railroad, even though that doesn't work.
but it's like,
Come on, guys, hit those like buttons. For people who are new
that
here, this is
really-
actually just a weekly talk show where we play a game in the background. Drop in the chat, we'll be talking about stuff.
and I'm going to contest, org. Bologna and hot dogs are nothing alike. All right. Yes, they're both.
Well, bologna's
crappy
pork, isn't
crust.
it, right? Whereas in America, I think hot dogs are made of beef, right? Here, hot dogs usually pork.
Over here can go either way. There are usually, if it's going to be beef hot dogs, they specifically say beef hot dog, or they're kosher.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and that really just got to me. And I didn't freak out. I didn't say anything. I just kind of like, oh yeah, and I just handed my money over. But it's like, lady, we both know what's going on here. All right, I'm wearing sweatpants. I'm wearing a stocking cap. All right. I have made decisions in my life that have led me to this place. All right,
I admit, not good ones.
Exactly. I am fully aware that I have done things that I'm not proud of, and now I'm sitting in a gas station prepared to eat 3 days worth of calories. All right? This is the reality that I have come to accept. I don't need you to commentate on this. I just need a little understanding, all right?
Give me just a little more time. I like to imagine everything you do is in song, reasoning with people. You got to try a little tenderness.
got to try a little tenderness.
Okay, so this sounds like the ending of The Incredible Hulk with the music. I do remember that episode of The Incredible Hulk where he slowly plays chess.
Why can't I...
You'll figure it out.
Use this piece.
You'll figure it out. I know exactly which piece you're trying to use as well. It is a little bit like that, the sad piano music actually in the piece. You're trying to use your bishop in D, right?
Yep, I know what it is.
Well done.
Fair enough. I understand.
You sound so sad. Like...
Oh, I mean, have you heard the music? So that's been my week involving checking out at Russ or stores. It's my curse. It's my burden. It is the cross that I bear. One of these days, I'll just give up the ghost and just start buying everything online. Like, everything online. Just... Like, oh, I could really go for a Snickers. I'm just gonna buy online and wait my 3 days. It's better than the alternative. Oh, fuck.
Had a little practice since our last game.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yeah. 3,000 pounds of chess tuition with the finest grandmasters in England. I wish. I've been playing better than that, I'd hope. So I watched Spider-Man Homecoming again.
Yeah?
Yeah, it holds up pretty well, you know? I've said before that my favorite thing about the Marvel movies is the way they've been trying to do, like, oh, this is a teen movie, but it's a... You know what I mean? The way they try and tackle different genres within their kind of, like I was saying, you know, Doctor Strange is a sort of a 1930s mysticism adventure.
Right.
But also a superhero movie, and, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is a space opera, but also a superhero movie, and all these things. I like how this one is a teen movie, but also a superhero movie a lot. Because it totally is. It's one step up from Say Anything, right? You know what I mean? Like, all there needs to be is a scene where they go to a party and smoke weed and play a guitar, and it would be, like, there, completely. But I like it a lot. And those characters are really likable. Like, I'd forgotten how likable the Ned character actually is.
Oh, yeah, how much he wants to be the guy in the chair. That's all he wants.
he's a really genuinely very sweet character. And I love... I like a lot of that film. Special effects hold up really good. It's a really great film. I really liked it. The second time around, too. The Blu-ray is actually really funny, because it's a Sony Blu-ray. And when it starts off, it comes out with, like, Sony Pictures Presents, and the first thing you see is, like, just a huge Sony logo, and that's Columbia. A Sony company. Sony. Sony.
Hey, guess what? Sony, right here.
Sony. It's very like that all the way through. There's a lot of very likable things about it. So I rewatched that. I think that's actually... It still holds up really well. Michael Keaton, obviously, fantastic in that film. I still maintain one of the best movie twists in years. I like a lot about it. I like a hell of a lot about it. But I think the thing that stood out to me more this time, actually, is how much they nailed the Aunt May relationship in a way that previous movies haven't, because they don't spend a lot of time together in that film. Like she's not a huge part of that film. She's a decent enough character, but she's not a major part of that film. But there's a lot of it that's very sweetly handled in the way they are tiptoeing around the fact that they've lost Uncle Ben recently. Because they reference it several times without ever actually mentioning it. There's a scene where he's out all night and he comes home, and when he comes home she's panicking. And she's like, you know, how could you put me through this? And what's so interesting about it is, they don't want to do Uncle Ben again, right? And Uncle Ben being in the movie would get in the way of the mentor relationship that they have with Tony, too. What was this, checkmate?
You have one move you can make.
Oh yeah, I see it too. It's not a great one. Yeah, let's go for it. Funny. So there's this real tenderness in that you've got this family of single parent, essentially, raising her nephew, recently lost her husband, and Peter's obviously, like, there's this other unspoken thing about what's going on in their relationship, in that everyone in school is treating Peter with this this sort of implicit tenderness, reflective of the fact that he has, recently lost a parent. That they never mention it, but it's this explicit cover for everything going on in his life, in a way that is quite well done, and it's one of the nice things about it in that it relies on your understanding of the franchise to work, but does not explicitly, like, overdo territory we've seen before.
Right.
And I also kind of like that a lot of people have kind of found fault with the way, a lot of people, because they're so used to seeing it in the movies, have it kind of stand out that Peter Parker's like the last superhero to arrive when he's this big character. But since watching Homecoming, I've gone back and read a lot of the old Spider-Man comics, and one of the things that I think is so interesting is how it fits into that very first issue of Spider-Man in his own comic, where he's trying to join the Fantastic Four and show them why he's worthy of being part of their legitimate superhero team, and they send him away to go and do his own thing. And he's the kid who was never good enough for the Fantastic Four, although he wanted that legitimacy, and it actually fits in kind of perfectly with that. A little bit like the way remaking Ultron as Tony Stark's protege instead of Hank Pym works, recreates the effect without losing anything. This kind of works too, and I've been kind of I'm actually really glad with Homecoming. Having seen it again, I've sort of come to the conclusion that it's actually kind of freshened the character in a way you couldn't have done if they had the rights all along.
Yeah, and to kind of go back to what you were saying about the Aunt May relationship, I think a lot of that actually has to do with the age.
Right.
Like, there is something to be said about having a young Aunt May, which for once finally makes sense, because, like, how old was Peter's parents,
Right, well, Aunt May makes sense in the 60s, because you've got a lot of family, parents died in the war, maybe, the older, because you'd have a bigger age gap as well between your oldest kid and your youngest as well. Very generational thing, post-war, you know what I mean? So a teenage son having an aunt that would be almost old enough to be the grandparent, and also someone in their 50s, 60s being more old and feeble, makes sense.
Right.
It doesn't make sense today.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't particularly care for
Oh, crap.
Homecoming for a lot of reasons. I mean, here's the thing. I like Homecoming. I do. There's just some things about it that just never really struck me right. And one of those is... I guess stakes. Just the stakes of the film never really did it for me.
Look, they're pretty low, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a movie about Peter Parker being a ground-level, street-level superhero in that universe. But I kind of like that. I like that a lot. I like that villain. He might be one of my favorite Marvel movie villains. They've gotten a lot better at those recently.
Well, they had to eventually.
Well, I think the last few have been pretty good. Ego, I think is fantastic.
Oh, I didn't care for Ego.
Oh, I liked Ego. Ragnarok doesn't have an amazing villain, unless you count in Jeff Goldblum. I don't think Hela was amazing.
Which I would.
Yes, yeah, but in a different sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
And who was I going to say? Yeah, I think the Vulture was good. And I was thinking of someone else and I've completely forgotten. Mind you, I thought Caecilius was pretty terrible too.
Yeah, Caecilius is pretty bad. But then you get to the point where Caecilius isn't even the big bad. You know, it's
right. But do you know the thing I like the most about Homecoming? Watching it again.
What's that?
Peter Parker's really, really poor. And I don't mean I like that in like a, yeah, fuck you, Peter Parker. He has the life of a poor kid. You see it a little bit in Civil War when he's like taking that free DVD player off the bus, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's doing all his home computing on an Apple II and stuff like that. But they really are okay, so I don't live in New York. I've never been to New York. I've never even been to America, right?
Right.
But Spider-Man Homecoming seems to have a real working-class New York that the Raimi films didn't.
I would agree. I mean, and they tried with Raimi's too.
I think they tried more with Raimi's than with Amazing.
Oh, that's for sure. They even attempt with Amazing. Which I can almost understand a little bit.
Yeah, well, you want to go for something a bit different, don't you?
Well, you also don't want to be depressing.
Right. But I think Tom Holland is the right Spider-Man to do that with. Because he is very likable as Peter Parker, I think.
So have you heard about the recent controversy involving him?
No.
And it's not even him, right? It's so they made a poster depicting Spider-Man.
Oh, I did see this, and he didn't have very much in the way of a package.
Yeah, or any at all, and it's clear that it was like photoshopped out, like any.
But they do that with posters all the time. They've done that
Right.
with the poster because the character's supposed to be 14. You know what? It's a what?
Right.
Who cares?
And at the same time, like, male character or female character, if I see a poster of the character, my first thought is not,
how big's Peter Parker's dick?
yeah.
And everyone's like, John, what are you talking about? This is a poster for Ultraviolet. Well,
yeah, but
still, Peter Parker's
the question
dick
remains.
How big?
I want to know how big Peter's Parker is.
Yeah. But also, who cares?
Yeah.
Did you see that amazing ending to the Infinity War trailer where, you see him meeting Doctor Strange, and he says, I'm Peter Parker, and he says, Doctor Strange, and he goes, oh, we're using our made-up names, you know?
Yeah.
In that case, I'm Spider-Man. Did you see that one someone had made where he says, I'm Peter Parker, the guy goes, I'm Benedict Cumberbatch, and he goes, oh, we're using our made-up names? It was great. You gotta love that. I love a good Benedict Cumberbatch has a stupid name joke.
Because he does.
Yeah, pretty much. I have no way out of this. Do you just want me to concede? Like, I'm fairly sure I've lost.
I would like to. I would, because what I'm desperately trying to avoid is accidentally putting you into stalemate.
Oh, no, I'll let it run then. I forgot about that, because I know how much that annoys you. But no, I think it held up very well. I'm coming around to the idea that well, I mean, I've been around to the idea for a while, but I like to go with what Fox was doing too with their X-Men universe, which is they don't all have to be X-Men movies. They can be in the X-Men universe, and they can be, you know, just different films. We can have a sort of a No Country for Old Men, and a body horror, and a Fantastic Four reboot that'll flop. There we go. The Fox Cinematic Universe.
I'm even though I'm not a horror fan, I am cautiously interested in what they do with New Mutants.
Oh, I nearly forgot. So on the Blu-ray for Spider-Man Homecoming, there's a special feature called A Tangled Web, and supposedly it's about the process of getting Spider-Man into the MCU, but it's very fluffy. It's very like, yes, Spider-Man has come home to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and people saying things like, I think Sony realized that this was a really good opportunity to bring those characters together, you know, but obviously, and they're really, this very, very surface level, you know? Really, really surface level. And they get everybody in, and they get Robert Downey Jr., and it was clearly filmed, like, on set, and he says, yeah, I just think it's amazing that these two, you know, massive studios have been able to come together to do something amazing. And what you can tell is everyone's desperately trying to avoid saying, Sony really, really desperately needed a successful film. And we said, if you let us have the rights, we'll give you a Spider-Man movie with Tony Stark in it. Like, because that's clearly the deal, right? That was, to me, that's the only reason why it makes sense that Robert Downey Jr. is in that film that much, you know? Like, it's, because Stan Lee's on this interview too, and he says, everybody thought it would be a good idea that Spider-Man would have a mentor figure, and the most sensible person would be Tony Stark. And because he said that in that documentary, I was like, yeah, there we go. They went, all right, look, 3 simple figures, RDJ. And then just a load of zeros afterwards. 1 Downey Jewillion dollars. But this documentary, it's so incredibly, like, it's such a DVD puff piece, but reading between the lines, they really do make it clear that, like, Sony were like, I think maybe we could do a Spider-Man movie, and maybe Iron Man, Iron Man, please,
Iron Man.
Marvel, look, we just got one thing to say: Sony Pictures has a real iron deficiency. If you get my drift.
We're a little downy on our luck.
Wouldn't it be great if they'd just taken the piss with that?
Think about this.
If they just put him in for like 30 seconds. They got Gwyneth Paltrow for that back too, as well. I always forget she's in that right at the end. Thus suggesting they've got back together, because in Civil War they were like, they're
kind of on the outs, yeah.
Right. You don't really... The thing about it, whenever she's not in a film, they just go, alright, let's just give Tony motivation. She's angry. She's not there. Because she wasn't in Ultron, right? I don't think.
Right.
I did see that Ned is in Infinity War. There was a clip on the Graham Norton show, which is a chat show we have here, and he was. They get a lot of viral clips, don't they? The Graham Norton show. I think they make it overseas a lot for their clippy clips.
Yeah, they have a little. Yeah.
They're good at getting celebrities to do things that travel. I'm not a huge fan of the show, but they have a. Sure, I'll just keep my king moving. They have a clip on there, and it's the scene, you know, where Tom Holland sees, because he was being interviewed, he sees the sky portal, and he's on the bus, and his arm hair stands up, and you know,
right.
And Ned was in. It's the longer version of that clip, and they're Ned in it. So I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, have a bit of Ned. That might be his only scene in the whole film.
Yeah, probably. Oh my God, this game. This one game.
Hey, I can extend my reign another 30 years if I keep moving around. This is how all British kings did it. Richard the Lionheart. King Albert. King Croc. King Kong. I'm really looking forward to Infinity War.
I know there's got to be a way I can do this.
Yeah, you want to kind of... So wait, why am I about to give you advice? Don't do that, Owen.
Seems like this has been all my engagements lately. Just can't seal the deal.
So yeah, I'm 100% sure Infinity War is going to be on some level kind of trashy, but
sure.
I'm looking forward to it. We are pretty much like I'm pretty much convinced at this point the last Infinity Stone's inside that Wakanda meteorite, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Aha! The king lives to fight another day. Ha-ha! The king lives to fight another day!
Oh my god!
That's chess, son.
There.
I don't have to win.
Ah! Ha-ha!
Well done, son.
Yeah!
That was a good game.
Woo! I'm not gloating. I'm not gloating. I'm just happy that I figured it out. That's more of a personal victory than a victory over you.
I feel like I did better in that match earlier on than I did last week, which was good. I was pleased with that.
So, I made multiple attempts this week to try to finish, is your phone on your desk or something?
Oh, I know, yeah, I keep getting texts. My phone keeps going up. I have nowhere else I can put it.
What was it? Orkia says, will the best part of the movie be CGI Groot to old music again? Yes. No, I actually got kind of annoyed with that by number 2 already.
Yeah, well, I don't mind Baby Groot. I think he's fine. But I'm glad... I think one film of Baby Groot was enough.
Right.
He's a very likable, adorable little character. But moving on from that is appropriate, you know? And I'm looking forward to seeing what Teenage Groot has for us. That'll be entertaining, I'm sure.
All the confusing feelings and
I want
strange
lots and lots
body.
and lots of tree puberty jokes in this film. I think that would be hilarious. He keeps accidentally producing huge shoots of white blossom. And it's everywhere, and everyone's like, it's everywhere! What are you doing in there? You've been locked in the bathroom for 2 hours.
Is this sap? It's all sticky.
I hear wind chimes in there. And it's like the creaking of the trees in the wind. Just sawdust everywhere.
Goes in there, there's a discarded magazine, it's just lumber.
Arboretum Monthly.
Yeah. Big wood of the Pacific Northwest.
The world's biggest redwoods. I am Groot. 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 I feel terrible now.
I am Groot.
Yeah, that joke happened.
I'm down with it. Yeah. I'm cool with it. No, what I was gonna say though is that I've made multiple attempts. I did start a new game. I don't know if you got the
Yeah, no, I'm loading him.
invited. Yeah. Oh, okay. Core Chaos says a feature on Japanese cherry blossom trees. Hey, if that's what he's into, man, you know. But no, I've made multiple attempts this week to try to finish watching or playing or reading anything. I haven't been able to do it. I managed to get the. I managed to get to episode 11 of Jessica Jones, so I have 2 more to go. I tried to complete Persona 5, and I mentioned this a little bit on one of your other streams, but that game had this just big difficulty spike, and not necessarily like in the actual combat, but the complexity of what I have to accomplish just went tenfold. Because how normally that game worked was you go into a dungeon, you explore the dungeon, maybe there'd be an obstacle that popped up that would force you out of the dungeon to do something in the real world, and then you can go back in and move past the obstacle, that sort of thing, right? I get to this, I'm assuming is one of the last dungeons, and you get the situation where you need these 4 letters to continue on, and each letter is held by a different person in the is held by someone in the dungeon.
Right.
So, but to get there, you have to perform a bunch of tasks, and then generally fight like a boss to get this letter. And there's 5 letters to get. Oh no, no, no! We are not doing this.
Doing what? Playing the chess.
You will not be needing 4 moves.
Unknown Soul says, I really like chess. I just purchased it. All of chess? I own chess now!
I am the chess master. No,
I'm just thinking of Jay. I am the clit commander! You give me nose and go like...
Oh, you little son of a bitch.
Sorry, that was a total tangent. I just like that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, I mean, it's an alright movie.
It's I would say it's explicitly a bad movie unless you really, really, really like in jokes. In which case, it's terrific.
Right. Unknown Soul says, I mean this game. Fair enough. No, I think this is one of the better chess simulators, I guess, out there. Because, I mean, you can buy really bare bones chess games where it's like literally just a 2D checkerboard with, you know, and I've seen some where they don't even have like pieces; they just have like symbols.
The same symbols you get in the chess puzzles in magazines, the official chess symbols.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I've been thinking about playing this in VR, because you can play this in VR, and you have a full 3D environment, and then you can use the motion controls to pick up the pieces and put them down and stuff.
That's
Which, I wonder if that means you could just play wrong? Just, like, slide your hand across... No!
Well, I guess
you lose!
I guess in VR, if you load up Gamora and play with the Doom pieces or whatever they are, you actually play against death.
Well, I've done that before. How do you think I got to be this handsome, John?
Did you
Death
lose?
was ever like... Death was ever like, oh, I will challenge you to any game, and they go, alright, chess. Shit. Wouldn't you prefer drafts? Cluedo? Actually, isn't that Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey? Where they,
yeah, pretty much.
They challenge him to... The magnetic football game is the one I always remember.
Let's see here. Unknown Soul says... let's see here. Not going to take their queen with your knight, John? No.
I was gonna, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not going to now. Let's see here. Unknown Soul says, I used to play battle versus chess, and every time I set the difficulty to the lowest, the computer would play like it's a master difficulty and end me in 1 minute. And I remember last time I got ended in 1 minute. Ooh, yeah.
There are actually some really nice chess games out there that actually structure the game like almost like a turn-based strategy game. They give you your units and stats and things like that. And they ease you into the early levels by actually giving things like giving pawns shields. You know what I mean? Giving them like bonuses and things like that. And they're actually really good at learning to play. Really, really terrific for learning to play.
Until you get completely confused and you go play someone else like, oh no, you don't take that. It knocks out the shield first. And then you get beat up in a chess park.
A chess park? To the chess park!
What do you call those? What do you call those places? You know,
Parks,
where they have the...
with chess tables.
Yeah. Okay, but the chess area.
Chess park.
Fuck you, Owen.
There is a great Simpsons. We are really gonna have to finish our Simpsons watch through, but there's a really amazing Simpsons where the school goes on strike, so all the kids are out of school, and Bart goes down to the park, and he's playing 5 chess games against 5 opponents. They go, look, this little boy's playing 5 games at once! And a whole crowd builds up, and then the next scene is them all just going, checkmate, 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 checkmate! It's really funny.
Sounds like it. Huh. Well, this is a predicament.
Quick, everybody! Rush the horse! Bishop! Corner the horse! I want to see that battle where the bishop's like, for my congregation!
Fuck you, I'm going down swinging. I regret nothing.
Hey,
I did what I wanted to.
I lost my rook to achieve that. It wasn't exactly a win-win.
That's what I love about chess sometimes, where it's just like, well...
No! Yeah, I want chess pieces that, like, put their thumb up like Terminator 2 as they go down, like... No, 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 no. Go, horsey, go! Oh yeah, no, sure! I'll get right on that bait. Hawk says, nice play, Owen. Thank you. Scanning for sarcasm. Go, Jake Gristle.
I feel like this is a trap, but fuck them. I also feel like this is a trap, but fuck them.
If it is, it's a very poorly set one.
I kind of realized I did the right thing 'cause I got an achievement where it's like, hey, well done. Worth it. Worth it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really mishandling this one. Chess!
Chess!
Other than that, I haven't really done much. Oh, so yeah, have you ever heard of the song Pet Cemetery by the Ramones?
God, no. No.
It's a terrible
no,
song.
Haven't.
It's a terrible song. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. And what's hilarious about it is that was actually written for the movie Pet Cemetery, based on the book.
Sure
It's not just like they were like, oh, we're just gonna write a song based on the book, and you know sometimes bands do that, right? Sure. Someone was actually like, hey, you know who would be great to write a movie for our strange Middle America supernatural horror? The Ramones.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. I don't think the Ramones are all that great.
Oh no,
I just don't.
Does anyone?
Oh yeah. Just
well, so the story of how that was written is great. So apparently it does predate the film a little bit. Stephen King was having a party, and Stephen King really, really likes the Ramones. And
well,
when
you
you're Stephen King, oh yeah, when you're Stephen King and you can invite whoever you like to your party, and you like the Ramones, who are you going to invite? The Ramones. Right. And Stephen King's like, oh, well, I've written a new book. It's called Pet Cemetery, and he gives a copy to Joey Ramone. Mm-hmm. Joey Ramone then goes to the basement. He just goes away to the basement, and he comes back an hour later with a guitar. Don't know where he got it, and he's written that song, right? But like the chorus, because he couldn't have had time to read the book in that time, presumably.
Right.
So he couldn't have written the whole, got it properly detailed. And Stephen King was like, "That's great. If we ever make a movie of Pet Cemetery, in fact, we're making a movie, just to put your wonderful song in. You've really captured the spirit of my book. I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. Well, given that you are a human male, Joey Ramone, it's probably not a problem. But it's so, like, there aren't many, like, is it, oh god, what is it? Is it, The Lost Boys that opens with, like, People Are Strange? You know?
Yes.
That makes total sense for that movie, right? It's not
Welcome, Sinister Minister.
It's not too on the nose, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But, yeah, people are strange when you're a stranger. Can you imagine if they just got the Ramones to go, I don't know where my boys are. They are the Lost Boys. Have you seen my boys?
Young males don't know where they are. Young males don't know where they are. I want to be Lost Boy.
We're announcing the sequel to our hit movie, I don't know. No, it's The Shawshank Redemption. The Shawshank was in trouble, but he redeemed himself.
He really figured it out. Well done. Well done.
He's a changed prison now. He used to be man now, but now I've seen the film.
You really pulled it out, Mr. Shanky.
Mr. Shanky.
I don't know. Clearly, I'm not the writer, the songsmith that Joey Ramone is.
Let's grip up.
Oh, whatever. So yeah, so I didn't make it through Persona 5. You guys remember that? We were talking about
He's
that.
the fifth Persona.
Oh, nuts. Why am I failing to see how I'm in check here? Oh, I'm not. What? Never mind.
Moving on.
Well, like, it immediately highlighted... it highlighted the king. And... like, I thought it was just stuck there.
Maybe it was just like, hey, you seen this pretty sweet king? Look, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, he's alright.
I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. Do you know what's my other favorite song at the moment? I realize it's part of metal music, but I think one of my favorite songs of all time is Judas Priest Breaking the Law. Because I was watching
breaking the law.
I was watching the
breaking the law. Breaking the law.
Right, I was watching the music video for that, and it is just about some guys who get bored and start breaking the law. Which I think is sort of great, you know? Breaking the law.
I mean, I guess this is probably a... I imagine this is probably a bit of a urban legend, I guess. But I was always under the impression that that song was supposed to be something to do with the lead singer's homosexuality.
Maybe. The music video is not, though. It's about some people who run into a bank and try and rob it with electric guitars. Breaking the law, breaking the law. It's just very funny. I always like when heavy metal people, when metal music first started to become really big, they were like, how dare they misrepresent us by suggesting that we're somehow, like, working for the devil. This is a gross misrepresentation of everything we stand for. What are your opinions on this, Black Sabbath? How do you feel about this controversy, Judas Priest?
Judas Priest?
How do you feel
don't
about
think we
this,
forgot about
John
you,
Lennon from the
New
Beatles?
York Dolls.
Wait, I don't get it. New York.
They're just like, what? Dolls. Voodoo. I feel like you're stretching a bit. I am not playing as well as I did, but I do really want to finish Persona 5 because I'm still really enjoying it. It's just, but I will say there's still some strange things about the game that hail back to what I was saying earlier. How it's like we're in these like weird like apocalyptic situations, and there's still so much like focus given into like awkward like teenage situations, because like one of the bits of this dungeon is I have to get this letter from a supposed ex-noble,
right? And you like stealing it?
Well, it's like, okay, we're already like thieves, all right?
So you are already, in fact, breaking the law, breaking the law.
Right, right. In fact, that plays in the background of every dungeon. It gets actually really frustrating. But you're in these, like, in tense situations, like you're already stealing things. You've done some pretty like horrible things. Like not like horrible, but you are like the whole purpose of the game is you are kind of emotionally extorting these people to do the right thing, which is fun, I guess. But so I have to get this letter, and this guy won't talk to us. You know, he's like, oh, you know, you're not worthy of my time, sort of situation.
We're not
right?
worthy. Sorry.
You know, that's kind of what it is. You know, you just not worthy of his time. So one of your characters' grand solution is we're gonna break into like this dressing room, and you know what? Take it. We're gonna break into the dressing room, and then all the female characters are gonna put on bikinis because the guy is clearly a pervert. So our big solution is we're gonna get all the female characters, we're all high school students, by the way, into bikinis, and then we approach him, and then he has all the time in the world, and then gets all like molestery about it. But before that happens, these girls are just like, oh, I don't know if I want to wear a bikini right now. And it's weird. It's like, I understand the premise, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to wear a bikini either. But they haven't given, like, any plans themselves. So it's just kind of like, okay, look, the fucking
Sound a little bit like a
here.
Persona 5 pimp right now.
Well, it's just like, this isn't a good idea. I agree. This isn't a good idea. But we're also dealing with the end of the world here. Maybe you shouldn't get all worked up, like, now? Like this just isn't the time? Or, you know, come up with a better idea. Please, anything. It's like, it's the apocalypse. I am open to suggestions. It's just a very strange game. With very weird sensibilities.
I can believe it.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, yeah, like I said, I tried to finish Jessica Jones, didn't. But, and we talked a little bit this yesterday after our stream. I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring it up again. I did watch 6 episodes of, I don't know if anyone remembers this show. Maybe some of you are old enough to. The Highlander, the series.
I like how you said the Highlander, the series.
Yeah.
Starring the Adrian the Paul. For people who don't know this, it was the prequel to The Fast and the Furious.
But yeah, that show is weird. Just real quick poll in the chat. Who here knows of this show?
Sinister Witness says, can be only one. So I assume that's
There's one
yes.
person. Yeah. But more so, who here knows what the Highlander is, right? Orkia says, my roommate loved it. You had a pretty fun roommate then. Alright. So, for those of you who don't know who the Highlander is, now this is a conversation I literally had to have with my roommate right now, who had never seen the Highlander, never watched the show, nothing. I had to explain what the Highlander is. All right. Now I'm gonna try to recreate this as best as I can. The Highlander was a show or was a movie released in early 80s?
I am gonna resign. I cannot win this, and we'll get more games in if I resign when it's clear I cannot win this.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yay. Oh. I think it actually froze mine.
Oh, good. Well, I did like the theme song, actually.
There we go.
I'm gonna cut his head off. He is in the ground that is higher than the other ground. I am Joey Ramone.
That's a little too on point. It should have been like, I live in the land that's higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so, The Highlander was a movie that was... Do you know the year it came out in?
I love how you keep
remember.
saying The Highlander, when literally none of the franchise has been called The Highlander.
I thought the first movie was called The Highlander.
No. It's just called Highlander.
Is it just Highlander? Okay,
it's
my
just
bad.
Highlander. For a long time, I'm going to say, by the way, before we get into this, we had a nice chat about this, yesterday, but now we're on the podcast, and it's important to my ego, I should say. For a long time, I described Highlander as my favorite movie. So I know a lot about Highlander. I'll go to war over these things, John. I won't really carry on. Do what you like. I don't give a shit. It's pretty terrible these days. It does do have you noticed though? It does have that love scene in the middle. It's remarkably similar to Terminator's love scene. It's actually the weird thing about Highlander is you would never know it, but it's actually sort of a Terminator ripoff. It's not a very good one.
Okay, well, will you please answer my question, though? What year did it come out in?
86.
Okay, thank you. So...
The year I was born before I was born, which means it'll always be truly immortal to me.
Oh. Wait, does that mean every movie that came out before you were born is immortal?
No, because I don't like those ones.
Okay.
I know his name!
Hello, Sam Foreman. That was his name. Sam Foreman is an immortal.
I have something to say. Don't you love the Kurgan in that movie, though? I know it's a total tangent. Starts off as this weird, sinister, dark, character. Very withdrawn. You don't really know what his motivation is. Then halfway through the movie, it's better to burn out than to fade away! La 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 la. Never talk to me!
I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. So, the movie is about immortals who have to run around and chop each other's head off because there supposedly can be only one remaining at the very end, alright? It's supposed to be this big grand game of death. And it stars, or it doesn't star, but the main character is Connor McLeod. And they made 2 movies starring Connor McLeod, both of which he is the last immortal at the end of each fucking movie.
They made 3 Connor McLeod movies.
Not before the show, though.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, Highlander 3 is after the show, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so they made 2 of these movies. So in both films, they fuck up their own mythology by having a final immortal.
Right, it is absolutely not a movie that they expected to have a sequel to, that first one.
Right. And so, they make these 2 movies, and the second movie they hate. The second movie's terrible. Everyone hates that fucking movie. So much so that they're like, hey, you know what? People hate this movie. Let's make a TV show. And they made a fucking TV show.
I sort of love that film, by the way, Highlander 2. I know it's awful, but well, the thing is, I loved Highlander as a kid, and I saw Highlander 2 as a kid, too, so that movie is very much, part of my childhood. In a weird kind of fucked up way, because it's not a kid's film.
No.
An old man gets beaten by a woman near a jukebox for saving everybody's life. Well, it's actually really remarkable. I will say this for Highlander the series, because Highlander the series hasn't aged well, I don't think. It's very 90s. Incredibly 90s. But it is worth pointing out, it's one of the in its time, it might have been the most authentic movie to TV adaptation there had ever been, right?
Oh,
in
absolutely.
its time.
And this is what I'll say, having watched the few episodes I did. It is dated and it's very 90s mostly in just like style, like fashion. Right. You know,
Duncan himself is a very 90s character.
Yeah. There are 5 Highlander movies now.
Far too many.
So they make this series, right? And the mythology is already fucked up because Connor has already been the final immortal twice.
Yeah, those cartoon characters flew through him. That was the defining moment. It is your turn, you realize, right?
Not on my screen.
Really? Yeah, I just see yours.
Yeah. I'm red.
Hold on.
Black.
Oh, did we both start games?
Oh, I think we did.
Hold on. Oh, good. That explains why we weren't doing much.
So they come out with this series, and they introduce this just character out of the blue, right? There's no mention of him in any of the movies or anything like that. Named Duncan MacLeod, which is his cousin, who is also an immortal. Lucky that family line.
Well,
right?
the big change that the series makes is in the movie, the first movie, ignoring 2 because 2 just doesn't have anything of value to offer, but about sorting out the continuity. But in the first movie, we see, I think, 5 immortals, right?
Yeah.
Connor MacLeod, Ramirez, the Kurgan, Facile, who is the guy who he fights in the car park at the beginning, and the black guy who isn't alive very long. You know what I mean? I forget his name.
Yes.
There isn't anybody else in the movie, right? Those are the last ones, the ones who've been drawn together to compete for the prize. And, like, the Kurgan's kind of a dick, because you're not really supposed to kill people before the gathering, right? That's sort of implied, you know, that they don't do that.
Well, yes, no, and that's the thing that's really weird about the show as well.
I get really in depth about this.
Orkaya says direct-to-TV movies don't count. Oh, they do. They absolutely count.
I would argue Endgame is a better quality movie production-wise than the 2 sequels, the 2 theatrical sequels to Highlander. Highlander 2 is such a strange movie.
Oh yeah.
I know we talked about this yesterday. I still haven't worked it out.
I tried to explain the mythology of the Highlander to my roommate.
Yeah, in one of the movies they're aliens. Not all of them.
Yeah. And so, but that is a weird thing about the show, is that, like, when the show comes out, they introduce a new character, this whole new group of immortals that are running around and all these stories. It's like, okay, fine, I get that part. But then they talk about, oh, it's the gathering. They keep on talking about the gathering, how everyone has to prepare for the gathering.
Well, this is introduced in the first film, though, that concept.
Right. But even in the film, and then in the show, they never fucking explain what the hell this is supposed to be.
Well, Ramirez says that they will... I don't know how they know, but Ramirez says that one day they will feel an inexplicable call to a place and a time.
Sure.
And that will be the time to fight.
Okay, but then, like, they let everyone else just kind of swing away. Like, just...
Yeah.
It like they have rules. Like, these immortals have rules where it's... No, what's kind of funny about what you just said there, Orchaos? Now, this is a tangent. Orchaos says, the producers were snorting some kind of magic. Funny enough, Some Kind of Magic was the Queen album where Prince of the Universe appears on.
I believe that's the joke.
Oh. I was hoping you kind of stumbled upon that.
Yeah, it's a kind of magic. It's a kind of magic. I was on the end credits to Highlander 2, too.
Was it?
Yeah, but a different version that you could only find on the end credits of Highlander 2.
Oh. So, there's so much about the Highlander mythology where they introduce like these rules about, oh, you can't fight on holy ground, and only one immortal can challenge another immortal at one time, and there's a gathering, this inexplicable call to fight.
That one's new to the TV series, isn't it? That's not from the film, that you can only fight one-on-one.
Right. But then they go out of their way through the television show and then all the movies just to say, nah, we're not doing that. We're not gonna follow those rules. Just no one fucking cares.
The Holy Ground one's weird because the amount of times it takes till Highlander Endgame for someone to violate the Holy Ground rule.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh yeah, nothing happened.
Even Katana. Even Katana didn't violate the Holy Ground rule. And he was from another planet.
Right.
And for some reason he'd always wanted to drive a train, even though he'd never been on Earth before. Remember that?
As you do.
He says to that kid, Bet you always wanted to drive one of these, didn't you? And he went, yeah, me too, before he steals the train. And I'm like, but you've just got here!
So, see, this is what I want to say about the show, alright? The show is odd. Oh,
it's so much fun. I like the show.
That's the thing. The show is so much fun to watch.
Have you watched the Joan Jett episode yet, though?
No, I haven't. There's something about these shows, because you can watch it in multiple ways, and it actually works in any way you kind of want to watch this show. You can watch it like the MST3K style. Like, we're gonna riff on this, we're gonna make fun of it, and we'll have a great time.
I really want to watch it now.
Or you can watch it legitimately. Like, I actually really want to watch this and be interested. And it works both ways because the show is cheesy. It's campy. It's weird. It has some questionable acting. It runs the whole gamut of...
It's sometimes really nice, though.
Right, which is what I was going to say, is that... But what they do with it, even with all the restrictions of being a television show, they do generally find a way to tell a compelling story. Either the modern day stuff or the past stuff. Most of the time, the past stuff. Because the show always goes, they always have like an A plot and a B plot. And the B plot is always like set in the past. Like a memory of Duncan's that somehow, some way, these memories from his past, because he's 400 years old, tie into the modern day plot somehow.
It was a good choice because, in my opinion, that's the strongest part of the Highlander movie too. The original Highlander movie. That's the bit that holds up the best. Present day Connor McLeod pretending to be Russell Nash, and they basically think he's a serial killer hiding out in his antique shop, and it's a mystery to figure out who this creepy weirdo is not as fun as watching young, idealistic Connor learn to chop swords and things, chop trees with swords. And... But yeah.
Chopping swords. Just...
You know what I mean.
Laying out swords with an axe. Just, ha-ha! There can be only one.
It is absolutely not as good as the flashback stuff, the present day stuff. Like, it's a weirdly miserable film. I don't know why I liked it so much as a kid.
I mean, and it's funny because like Connor McLeod is, we discussed this yesterday, but Connor McLeod is a very miserable character. Like, he's never happy.
No.
And
like the happiest I have ever seen Connor McLeod post Scottish flashbacks. He's actually in his first scene in Highlander the series. where he's thrilled to be chasing the world's worst Highlander villain.
Yeah, he has a very swashbuckly kind of feel to him, where he's like, ah!
Headhunting. Oh. Sorry. Och. I'm definitely Scottish.
I. Just. So that's another thing I wanted to bring up about the Highlander, alright? So, the Highlander, essentially, is from Scotland. Why they chose Scotland in the first place? I don't know. Maybe they just thought
I know the
name
answer
first.
to this.
Oh, no.
No, I do know the answer to this. So, Highlander was it wasn't like a studio-led production. It was a script that a guy wrote and shopped around, right?
Sure.
And the guy wrote the first draft of the script and, like, sold it as on the premise, right? And he got the idea for the script because he was in a museum in Scotland, and he was looking at a suit of old armor, and he got to thinking, what would it be like if this guy was still around today? And he'd been wearing this armor all these years. And that was originally a more central thing. It was going to be a story of a guy who you were going to see more of his different time periods, you know? So, I mean, it was going to be a very different sort of film. And then it got very, very, very much changed as it went. But it was always called, like, Highlander. The Highlander and things like that.
Sure.
But not when it actually got released. So stop calling it that.
Damn them. Alright, so we have the Highlander, Connor McLeod, who is Scottish. And the actor they get to play him is Christopher Lambert, who is French.
Christophe Lambert.
Right. Now, that's not the weirdest thing about this in terms of ethnicity, right? You also have his mentor, Ramirez, right, who is a Spaniard, who is also Egyptian, right? He started out as being an Egyptian who became a Spaniard because he's old enough, right? He just switched. He just said, fuck it, I'm now from Spain.
Well, I mean, he doesn't. He says that he is from the court of Spain.
Okay, fair enough.
He inhabits the Spanish court, but he is pretty clear that he's Egyptian. Because he gets all pissed off when Connor McLeod's like, you said you're from Spain. You're a liar. Okay. Haggis. Sheep's stomach stuffed with oats and barley. Ah. It's one of my favorite scenes in the film.
Right? So, you have Ramirez, who's from the court of the court of Spain, all right? Who is an Egyptian though, played by the actual Scottish Sean Connery. Right?
I would have killed to have seen Sean Connery appear in the series one time. That would have been amazing.
Oh yeah.
We got Roger Daltrey though.
Great.
He was in it later on. He was actually like a recurring character for a while too. Because in many ways, I would say, Roger Daltrey is the Volkswagen, the Sean Connery of actors. The Volkswagen of Sean Connerys.
What?
I don't know. Just being nice to adults. All right.
Okay, so you have that situation going on, all right? So then, we have this show. Now, we have Connor's cousin. Okay.
Well, they're not really his cousin. Because when they do... No, I'm just saying, it's funny because they always say he's his cousin, but when they do the flashback on that, later on, you do see that, like, there's like 200 years between them. Like...
Okay. Fair enough. Alright, so his descendant...
Yeah! Some guy who lived roughly nearby where he used to live.
Alright, but he still has the name McLeod, alright? Played by Adrian Paul, who's British. Why could they not find a Scottish actor for this role?
He doesn't...
Were they too proud?
Just refresh my memory, though. He doesn't speak with a Scottish accent in the show, right? Does he? He just speaks.
No, not at all. In fact, he doesn't even speak with a British accent either. He has like a strange, like, almost American accent at times.
Well,
and
maybe
then
they
he,
were
like,
trying to
slips
do.
up.
Maybe they were trying to do, like, do you remember how Christopher Lambert talks in Highlander 1? He's got, like, a really strange, odd voice.
Yeah, because, well, he has that voice in every movie he does where it's in English, because that's the only way.
Right, that's what his voice sounds like.
Yeah.
Christopher Lambert, for people who don't realize, doesn't really speak English, or certainly in 1986 he didn't. And from what I understand, they've said some conflicting stuff on this, but from what I understand, the widest known story about this is that he actually learned his lines phonetically. And I believe that the reason Sean Connery was cast was because he does actually speak French, and they thought it would be easier. But I could be wrong on that. But the other thing that's worth mentioning about Christopher Lambert is, he is, I believe, I don't want to exaggerate, so if I'm wrong about this, but I believe I'm accurate in saying, without his glasses, he's legally blind. And he doesn't wear glasses, and contact lenses irritate his eyes. So whenever you see Christopher Lambert, the reason he has this kind of odd, ethereal stare to his characters is because he literally can't see what the fuck's going on in any scene he's in of a movie. So whenever you see Christopher Lambert in a film, if he's not wearing glasses in that shot, and he's speaking English, he doesn't know what he's looking at, and he probably doesn't understand what he's saying.
Which
never stops being funny.
He's the guy that played Raiden in Mortal Kombat. The first one.
Yes.
The second one, they got
Dexter's dad.
Guy.
Looking like Billy Idol.
with khaki cargo pants and a blue vest.
Mark says, and they want him to swing around a sword. Oh yeah, he was genuinely like upset about. Like he was really worried he was going to kill someone. He also has a great story about the Scottish crew on the set of Highlander. Apparently, they would do the battle scenes, and then they'd break for lunch, and they'd all go down to the pub, and then they'd come back completely pissed, and and totally off their tits drunk. And then he was like, and then we'd have to stop the shooting every 5 minutes because the Scottish people were actually fighting, actually braying each other with the swords, and they were really worried about this. They were really worried about what this was gonna, about that someone was gonna get hurt, and so they tried to stop it. And then it turned out the Scottish people were loving it. They were just having the time of their lives. Always makes me laugh.
Which is great, you know, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a violent person, but if I kind of have like carte blanche to just get into fights with like no real consequence, sure. Like I said, I'm not necessarily a violent person, but like, or do I believe in the afterlife? But if I did, I'm all bored. I am all on board with like Valhalla. The idea of Valhalla, like, that'd be great. That would be a great afterlife. You know?
See, these days, going around dying a warrior's death and killing people is generally frowned upon, right? Which makes me wonder, do you think there are afterlives for, like, other things that today are crimes, you know? Like, is there an afterlife for the animal torturers? For the... or, you know, for anyone who's ever been an accountant? Poor Christopher Lambert. Oh, no! I've just realized this conversation has actually forced me to remember that Mortal Kombat Annihilation exists. Like, I don't think the first Mortal Kombat is a bad film, right? I don't think it's great, but of video game movies, I'd say for a long time, that's actually the best one. But
yeah,
until you get pretty... I mean, like, at this point, people say Wreck-It Ralph, but Wreck-It Ralph isn't a true video game movie.
No.
I think Mortal Kombat's probably the best one. Mortal Kombat Annihilation might be the worst. Certainly one of the worst sequels I've ever seen.
Well, maybe sequel, but we still have to account that. You do have to count Uwe Boll's movies.
Are you suggesting that Uwe Ball's movies are worse than Mortal Kombat? Worse bad movies than Annihilation?
Yes, I 100%. I will fight you over that. I think that Annihilation. Oh, what the hell was I thinking there? I think that Annihilation is by far better than Uwe Boll's films.
I suppose Mortal Kombat Annihilation does have Mortal Kombat.
Sub-Zero, Scorpion.
A theme song so good, people still think it must appear in the game somewhere.
Oh yeah.
No. It's such a fun theme song. I don't care. They also recast in Annihilation. They cast, you know, what's the big bad villain's name? And they cast that guy from right, but they cast like not an Asian guy at all in it as do you know who I mean? In I'm looking up who it was.
Yeah, he was the guy from like The Hills Have Eyes, the original.
His name, just so you know how authentic he was Brian Thompson. Oh, bye. Apparently he was the alien bounty hunter on the X-Files. Oh, him. In 2014, I've looked up his Wikipedia page. In 2014, he wrote and starred in the B-movie parody The Extendables. Yeah, that sounds like a B-movie parody. I'm not doing great today.
No, this one I'm kind of really. My mind. I like chess a lot, and I enjoy playing it, but I can only play like so many games before like my brain like starts to become mush.
Yeah,
Excuse
that
me.
makes sense. Brian the Shao Kahn.
The conniest of the Shaos.
The combat was mortal. I don't wanna be buried.
People who have normal lifelines fighting.
Check! Ha-ha! It's all turning around now.
Ha-ha!
Oh no!
A terrible fate has befallen me. Chess.
Yeah, a little bit of the old Chessaroony. The old Chessaroony ruse.
Well, folks, we will definitely be wrapping up after this game. In fact, I don't even know if we'll finish this, but...
That means, because I know you've got an appointment you want to get a hard on-time finish today. That means I can force you to resign and claim a win.
I can just leave and pause. Remember, this can be played asymmetrically.
No! How darest thou?
So that means we've gotten to the point of the show where we are going to open it up to our loving audience. You guys do love us,
Yeah, wherever
right?
you are. Come on. Tune in so we don't have to put up with this shit audience.
I want to be known that Owen said that and not I.
Whatever do you mean?
What was I going to say? Fuck. Oh, yeah, we're going to open it up. So, if you are tuning in right now and watching, and you have any questions for us, any comments, anything like that, now is the time to get them in. Alright? Now is the time.
Cause oh, these are the days, and this is the time. Do 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 do. Can never quite find. These are the days, so wake up, cause this is the time. And you know I'm right. That was a song by the Stone Roses, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Geeko says, how long are these streams? They're as long as they are, really.
Yeah, they vary. They usually go about, safely, I would say they usually go about 2 to 3 hours. Today well, I don't even know if we'll be cutting short. We kind of didn't have a ton to talk about this time around. I'll say our longer streams generally have to do with when we have both watched or read the same thing.
Right.
So like when we see the same movie, those will generally be a longer stream for us.
I'm trying to remember if that was actually by the Stone Roses now. Oh, not the Stone Roses. I'm sorry. It was by the Lightning Seeds. Those are not a similar band at all.
Yeah, Jesus, Owen.
Fuck you.
How the hell did you mix up those two bands? Like, I mean, you're supposed to be the bad music guy, right?
The bad music guy? You mean I make bad music, or I have bad taste in music?
Well, you know, if the shoe fits.
Huh, why can't I do that? Why would I be in check if I moved? Why would I be in... Oh, because that's your night, of course.
Geeko asks, what is the worst thing that has ever happened to you? Meeting
Starting
Owen.
this podcast. Oh. How could you say such a thing?
No, I don't know. I'll have to think about it a little bit. What about you? You got anything off the top of your head?
So there's one time I was driving alone through the woods.
Oh, Jesus.
And,
this is a lie, everyone, because Owen doesn't drive.
I'd stolen a car, and, I was driving without a license through the woods. And I was in the noble, country of Wales. And I hit one of their famous whales. As it was crossing a road, and I had to bludgeon it to death with my shoe to silence its call, its haunting screams. I'll tell you something, that story's partially true, only one element is a lie. See if you can figure out which bit, and I'll answer the questions on the next episode.
Is it the driving part?
I'll answer on the next episode. You have to guess. Which bit did I lie about? No, you're right, John. The whole thing about a whale was true.
Well, because at this point, you have made the 2 lies.
No, only one part of that story is a lie.
But you don't drive.
But only one part of the story is a lie. I don't have a driving license, John. I can still physically get in a car and operate it. Illegally.
But do you?
But do I? Yeah. Yeah, does he? Does he, though? I had a dream once that I stole my dad's car, many, many years ago. I had a dream that I stole my dad's car, and I was driving it around, and I was like, this is really easy. Everyone's always going on about how long it takes to learn to drive, but I've been doing this in my sleep for like 20 minutes now. I'm doing great. And I had this whole lengthy dream that I'd stolen this car. And when I woke up in the morning, my dad's car was actually stolen, but by someone else. It was one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me.
It does seem kind of weird.
I guarantee I didn't sleep steal my dad's car, but it was one of those really, really, really weird dreams where, like, you know when you have a dream and it feels very, very real? Like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing, and then you wake up and it feels real. I had a dream just like that. The only thing I can think of, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, the only thing I can think of is, in the dream, I must have heard the car being stolen. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Huh, is this checkmate? No, it can't be.
No.
Oh, of course.
Well, make this harder.
So you know how I normally, like, loathe memes?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying that American Chopper meme.
Oh, yeah.
Total tangent, but it's so good.
I actually kind of enjoy that one myself.
Smooth Davis says, so many songs this evening. Can we expect to see SingStar or another karaoke game come to the podcast? I'd do podcast karaoke if there wasn't such a delay on the...
Yeah, it's very difficult for us. Is this... No, this still isn't checkmate, but...
Og says he could drive on private property, just not public roads. Well, there is that Simpsons where they escape from jail, and Lisa goes, "You can't drive, Dad. He took your license. We'll just have to give it a try." It worked! Huh, why doesn't that work? Why can't I go to... Oh, no, of course, I'm being dumb again.
No one's being dumb.
Yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad chess, bad chess.
Hey, Concan, welcome. Once again, you are woefully late to the show. Fuck it. Alright. I am actually going to do this.
What, resign?
No. I have offered a draw.
I haven't seen it yet. I've yet to see your offer of a draw.
You might have to go to the menu.
I've also offered a draw, but it hasn't accepted your offer of a draw.
Yep, there it is.
Draw by agreement. Yeah, cool. What
Nice.
happened to... Oh! Ha ha ha! Yeah!
What?
In your face! I think that's because you offered to draw with an opponent whose rating was lower than yours, but I drew with an opponent whose rating was higher than mine.
Fair enough. Okay. So, what's the worst thing that ever happened to me? I don't know off the top of my head.
John just looks into the camera. The murder of my entire family by gangsters in 1992. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't like to talk about it.
I don't know. I'm sure I did something like horribly embarrassing one time, and I probably blocked out my memory. Or I could be kind of like serious about the whole situation and be like, "Oh, well, my parents got divorced."
I got my answer. Hold on. Attack of the Clones. Sorry. What I liked was, just as I was about to answer that, I realized what I was shouting over, because the slight delay, your voice just came through. No, I could say, like, my parents divorced, and I was like, hey, prequels joke! Stop bearing your heart, John!
Look at me, funny guy.
Look at the
I
comedian.
got jokes for days. So, I guess we can say that's probably a show. Unfortunately, yeah, we do have to cut it because I have to attend a board meeting for the community theater group that I'm a part of.
And I'm going to go watch The Last Jedi, because my Blu-ray just arrived. I say just arrived, it's like 11 p.m. Yeah, that would be weird.
Oh, you're not going to watch more Highlander?
Well, no, I don't own any Highlander. I can't watch it. I don't have Hulu.
Oh. Ah, you suck.
No, I just live in a country that doesn't have it on streaming services. You're mean. No, I don't like you, John. I don't care. I hope your board meeting is long and insufferable.
Or Chaos says disappointment and boredom all in the same package. Are you speaking about our show? Or Owen?
Or The Last Jedi? That'd be weird.
Or board meetings.
I don't think it was that bad.
I actually rather liked The Last Jedi.
Oh, Attack of the Clones. No, I'm with you. There we go. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, alright. I'm on board with that. I would have accepted I accepted it as a possible answer. I would have also accepted Owen.
The clones attacked. That was really whack.
People who look the same, attacking other people who look the same.
That would be a great song for the Ramones as well, because they did all look the same.
I just love it. Like, oh man, the Ramones, man, they're musical genius. Like, all their songs are like 6 words, just repeated over and over and over again.
Do you know how I can't remember which one's the lead singer, but do you know how he ended up being the lead singer? Because they switched like 3 times round, and the one they ended up with was the only one who could play the most basic guitar parts and sing at the same time without losing time. They just cycled around on the instruments till they found someone who could do that.
God.
And you know what? They weren't even all called Ramon in real life. It's like the Monkees all over again.
You know, here's the thing. Like, I get it. Like, I can appreciate the Ramones for, like, the people who came afterwards who claim them as influences, because they generally were influenced and did better, alright? I can appreciate that, alright? But they are very much, for me, another Nirvana, alright?
Right.
Just way too much appreciation for them that has nothing to do with their actual musical abilities.
Well, the Ramones were like the birth of punk, right? In the US.
I mean, I would still say that, you know, like, Sex Pistols and stuff like that, they were big enough over here to have an impact.
Well, when were do the Sex Pistols predate the Ramones? Would you say? I don't know.
I don't know the timeline on that.
I'm not hugely familiar with punk. It's not really my genre.
But I would also say that, like, the whole glam rock scene of the mid '70s was more of a birth of punk.
I'd also say the Sex Pistols were better than the Ramones.
Yeah, I would say so too.
And they weren't great.
No, you know, like I don't mind punk. Like, I don't mind what punk has become, and like throughout the lineage of punk, there have been some gems of some songs, right? But early punk is not really that great.
No.
And okay, this is subjective. I understand it that this, you know, whenever we talk about music, it's always a subjective thing.
Right, and they were a response to prog rock as well, which was so overblown.
Right. It's just not very interesting to listen to it, in my opinion. You know,
right. And it's a cycle too, because grunge, which I absolutely think should be considered 90s punk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grunge is absolutely a response to 80s highly musical, highly composed hair metal, you know?
Right.
And the Steve Vai and the David Lee Roth and the Van Halen and, you know?
And and the Bon Jovis and the Warrens and the all that.
People who could play.
Yeah.
And we're going through that again now as well, because we then had a period of, you know, grunge and Green Day and stuff like that, and then we had a period of, you know, Muse and Coldplay and
right
stuff like that,
Nickelback.
and now we're back to oh god.
Look at this photograph.
Chad Kroger's made a career out of.
Makes me laugh.
He's made a career out of being the human equivalent of a ginger cat you're too, like, humane to put down, but you really can't be bothered having around.
I have a ginger cat.
Well, yeah, but you like yours. You know when you end up with a ginger cat that just hangs about? Nobody
I mean,
really likes it.
I will say, if Ronald ever walked into the living room and it was just like, look at this photograph, I might have to put him down. But
I'm so high, I can hear heaven. Now.
the wings of an eagle are not gonna send you away.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Alright, everyone. That has been Those Aren't Biscuits. I gotta get out of here.
Bye!
Thank you all for watching. I have been one of your hosts, Jonathan Cadotte, and with me, as always, has been Owen Adams. Owen, where can they find you, man?
YouTube channel, youtube.com/Owen Adams.
Awesome. And you can find me on my Twitter, which is @JohnCPerson, and all my other content that I do is right here on this channel that you are watching as we speak.
Yay!
So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe here, share with your friends. We boost us a little bit. Appreciate it. Or don't. Whatever. It's
Captain Positive over there.
But until next time, have a good one, everyone.
Bye!